We're going to inspect the electronic mortise. This is the Townsteel TS A7924. This one is the -2 because it's the fail secure mode, which means this slider or blocker here is locked when there's no power. The -1 solenoid's reversed, and that would be the fail safe, which means when there's no power it would be unlocked. So this is the -2. It has 3 switches in here. One is the door position switch, which is a reed switch that operates when a magnet is put close to it, and our strike has a magnet in it. There's a latch position switch, which when you press this, it'll actuate a switch over here. And there's a request to exit switch. When you rotate the lever, it'll activate that switch. We check this in the position that it's installed in the door, except for the door position switch. That doesn't move. We're going to check that in this position. So I put a faceplate on there. I have washers that are approximately a little over 0.18 inches thick. So I put one over on this side, one over on this side. The switch is right here, so I don't put the washers on top of the switch. Put them a little bit outside of that. And this one goes over here. The wires for that, the door position switch, are normally the longer white wires, but you can figure that out. So we connect these. Polarity doesn't matter. We connect these to the multimeter. The switches are normally open, so there'll be no response. We set this to the polarity or the buzzer. When there's continuity, you'll hear a buzz. So let me put this up there like that a little bit. So normally, if there's continuity, or when the switch closes, you'll get a buzz. So this, I put these in here to essentially accommodate for door gap, and we put this over, and that closes the switch, and you can hear it. So we would label that wire as door position switch. We'll take this off. Put this in position where it's normally installed in the door. Okay, so that checked the door position switch, and we put the label on the 2 wires that were normally door position, which is this. Next, we're going to check the latch position switch, which are the red and black wires. Could be something different. Look at the drawing to see exactly which ones they are. Once again, it doesn't matter which terminal you hold. It's just a switch. It's just essentially a wire loop, and you're just trying to close the switch. Still set there, so what we do is just push the latch, and you shouldn't have to push it halfway, and that should go ahead and actuate the switch. If you have to push it all the way in, it's no good. You'd have to adjust the switch at that point. But this one I move less than halfway and it actuates the switch. We would label that. The last one we're going to check, the last switch, is normally the green and orange wires, and this is the request to exit switch. Request to exit is when you rotate, it actuates the switch. Okay, that's good. Normally, not normally, but you should not be able to rotate up on the electronic mortise. And the reason for that is because of this switch. The request to exit switch requires you to rotate down. So we have a blocker in there that prevents rotating up. If it rotates up, it's only acceptable if the trim has something in it to block it from rotating up. So all the newer mortises will have something in the mortise itself to prevent it from rotating up. So that checks the switches in the mortise. Next, we're going to check the solenoid. This is a 24 volt. 7924 designates 24 as the 24 volt. It's normally white wires for the 24. It's normally black wires for the 12 volt. So we're going to go ahead and hook these up to a 24 volt DC power supply. So when I hook these up, you'll see the blocker move. So with power applied, it's unlocked. No power, it's locked. So that operates. The next thing we do is check to see there's a resistance requirement on the solenoid itself. And if you look at the drawing for this solenoid, it's the TS A7924B. The resistance should be 114 plus 10% minus 0 ohms. So we'll switch this over to the 200 scale on the ohms, and we get about 118 ohms. And the requirement is 114 plus about 11.5. That's good. Okay. At that point, we make sure all the wires are labeled. Make sure the UL sticker's on there. This is for electronically controlled single point lock or latch. That'll be on there. This has got to be taped. And then you conduct your inspection on a mortise like you normally would to make sure that latches, both sides work, the blocker's in there, the screws are in there, and you do your hardness checks and the other things you normally do on the mortise. This was mainly just to go through the wire test for the mortise.